Hey ARKS Silhouette here, this time with a rather short video concerning some rather troublesome data that has been going around on PSO2 Global. You might recall, a few videos ago in my imposing Iron Assault guide, I mentioned 3 of the featured items that should be dropping from that quest. These items were, for the most part, just a few of the highly coveted 14-star weapons that quest was supposed to have dropped, and it even had a news announcement stating that they were indeed intended to be. Because of that, I think the responsible thing to do is to get this public service announcement out there and let everyone know what we found. So with that said, let's get into it. Unfortunately, as we've been monitoring the urgent quests for some time now and going over their item logs each week, I can say with relative certainty that this doesn't appear to be the case. With the logs that I and others have collected, not a single 14-star weapon has dropped from the imposing Iron Assault or Iron Juggernaut of the High Seas in all servers of PSO2 Global. For the record, there is some dispute on whether the rematch quest should even drop these 14-star weapons, as they were not necessarily announced for it, and we're not entirely sure if it did in JP versions. In any case, what we do know is that the JP equivalent of this quest, at the contemporary time period of its release, had approximately 9 14-star weapons that it should have the potential for dropping. Only 3 were featured in NA, but whether that means there is actually a difference in the drop pool or not is not verifiable. Now, I know what you're thinking, especially if you're a JP veteran and you're familiar with these items. The drop rate for Episode 4's 14-star items is absolutely abysmal, atrocious, awful, get that stuff out of here. It became particularly legendary for having such low rates, especially in regards to the ceaseless search for overwhelmingly good items like the Jupiter Tullus. Is it possible that simply no one has been lucky enough for it to drop? Yes, absolutely, unquestionably. I want to stress that I do understand probability and how this could be just a consequence of chance altogether. That said, the word I would use, personally, to describe a situation like this is very unlikely, with an incredibly strong urge to say improbable. It's also entirely possible that the statistics represented in the item log for these quests are skewed because of a bug or something else preventing them from being recorded. Still, with no known drops and no one coming forward mentioning it, we're left to ponder this improbability. The reason I say this is because thousands upon thousands of players have played through these urgent quests multiple times each time they've appeared at the requisite level of difficulty across the entire global data center for 3 weeks, several times each day. Even more so, plenty of players have taken part in trigger parties that ran this quest quite insistently, and even some passively, in the search for these elusive items. To put it very simply, to have thousands upon thousands of players run this UQ, trigger or otherwise, several times a day across 4 different servers for 3 weeks and not a single one out of the 9 possible items drop is just extremely unlikely. So much so that if this was your job to report on these statistics, you would be asked if you had made a mistake, and then upon discovering that you had, be tossed a dagger in order to facilitate seppuku, the only way to regain your lost honor after such a shameful display. Furthermore, in comparison to other 14 stars and even recently 15-star items, while numbers of drops have been slim outside of the Crimson Fellworm urgent quest, we've still seen a handful of drops of Lavis cannons from Deus, plenty of Demonias from Buster Quest, and a handful of 15-star novel weapons in Ultimate Quests. Again, not the smoking gun that indicates that the drop pool for Yamato V2 is broken, but just another comparison that suggests something is very possibly amiss. We've also had a number of users mention that our drop rates for 14-star and up items do not appear to be similar to the current JP rates. In February of 2018, the JP server had a patch introduced that raised the drop rates of 14-star items in Episode 4 urgent quests to more accurately match the standard that the rest of PSO2 had from Episode 5 onward. Remember, the PSO2 global servers are supposed to be on the same patch version as JP, which would mean that the drop rate should also be similar. If it is true that they are different, then this could possibly poke a number of holes into where we believe our server stands versus JP in regards to content and overall experience. Of course, it should also be mentioned that it is possible that this could be an intentional change. Maybe they just didn't want to let 14-star items flood the player base too soon, especially considering that this was pre-Episode 5 content. In any case, the bi-weekly maintenance is right around the corner. If these issues are indeed unintentional errors or omissions, it is altogether possible that we could see a fix or update regarding them come Wednesday morning. I have personally heard that users have asked for information from PSO2 GMs, and they've mentioned that they've had their hands full with recent item duplication issues discovered in one of the recent patches. No confirming or denying the Yamato issue, however. Several players I've spoken with in-game or on Reddit and in PSO2 communities have also mentioned sending in support tickets with inquiries that aren't being responded to or closed, which is different from PSO2 GM's usual behavior for these tickets. Suffice to say, it is safe to assume that support staff are aware of our concerns. At the end of the day, what I wanted to communicate to everyone here is that while Yamato has been kneecapped very heavily by this revelation, the 14-star drops being one of the biggest prizes for running this UQ, and the fact that most of the other drops in the UQ are facilitated by Zig's exchanges, you still have reason to run the UQ. It's a great source of experience, EX cubes, and a couple of other nice little 13-star items that are not available in Zig's exchanges. Just be aware that these items do not appear to be dropping. It could very well be that no one has just managed to have the luck to get it, but I personally would not put my money on that. That's it, everyone. Just wanted to let everyone know about this while we're waiting for some announcement or acknowledgement of these concerns, as the drops seem to be missing, and Zig's new exchanges make Yamato V2 runs significantly less valuable. And prior to this, plenty of players had spent star gems on triggers in the Fresh Find Shop in order to chase these items that may not have even been available despite the announcement. I want to give a shout out once again to many users on Reddit who I discussed this with, as well as plenty of users in the various PSO2 communities that I've spoken with while researching this issue. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments whether you think the Phantasy Star team just forgot to add them to the drop pool, whether you think they were removed intentionally, or if you've gotten one and are the envy of the server and no one knows about it. Remember to like and subscribe if you feel like it. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know what you're thinking. For now, though, I'm Silhouette, and I'm signing off. May you have all the rare drops.